What's up, doll collectors, hobbyists, fabs, and besties? I'm Toya, an adult doll collector. Welcome to my miniverse. I am loving these little poster board backdrops because they are so easy to set up. So let's make a new one. I found this Lilo and Stitch fabric at Michael's. So I'm thinking fan room? Is that what you were thinking too? Yes, let's do it. I went to the movie for a little inspo. At times, it looks like Lilo's room is either blue or green, or somewhere in between. And many other rooms are kind of like a cream or an orange. I got a lot of this orange poster board, so let's go with that. I have my poster board laying so it's 28 inches wide and 22 inches tall. I use a ruler to measure 14 inches so I can trim to the height that I need for our back wall. Now I have a piece of poster board that is 28 by 14 inches. I'm going to fold it in half, making a corner. I'm thinking that on this side, maybe we can put a window and a window seat. And on this side, maybe a bed. I take another piece of poster board. I use a dotting tool and a ruler to measure up 14 inches and over 2.5, make a line, move the ruler over, make another line at 2.5 inches from that one, repeat until there are 4, then make one more at a 1/2 inch. Cut on the outside line, fold on the lines, then let's glue that 1/2 inch piece under the first rectangle, making sure it can lay flat. And now we have a column that we can add to our room. I made a second one. Let's make the window seat similar. But this box, we are going to make 2.5 inches tall, then make a line at 2.5 inches for the first rectangle, make the next rectangle 8.5 inches, then 2.5, 8.5 again, and a 1/2 inch. Now let's trim it, fold on the lines, glue the tab to the first rectangle, and make sure it can lay flat. And this is what we got so far. In the inspo photo, this is actually like a small stage and it looks like it reaches all the way across the wall. Like these things aren't there. But I'm going to keep them to add a little more interest to our poster board room and to strengthen the walls. I cut a rectangle for the top that is 8.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Bend over a 1/2 inch. I cover the top with scrapbook paper. Then I bend the bottom edge at about 1/4 of an inch. I cover the front of our box with more paper. I only worried about covering what's going to be visible. I place all of our pieces onto the poster board, leaving a little space at that center fold. But before gluing it down, I lightly mark where I would like to put a window. Then remove the boxes, sketch out a window, cut out where the glass should be, then cut straight down the middle and along the top and bottom, so they can open. I take a wood grain scrapbook paper, cut it into strips, and glue it around the window. I can see a little orange around the edges, but I'm just going to leave it and pretend like it's a glow from the sunset. Cut clear plastic from packaging, tape or glue it behind the cutouts. That's going to make our windows a lot stronger and help them hold their shape. I cut a little white poster board into strips. Let's glue it around the edge of the window, and I decided to cover it with more of the wood grain. Now let's glue on our boxes, and I'm starting at the farthest edge, and we're going to just glue that down. I'm adding a little glue to one of the panels, then let's glue it to the edge, making sure it lines up at the bottom and can still lay flat. I add the box under the window, and we might as well glue these two sides together. Again, making sure it can still lay flat. Let's take the piece that we made to go on top, and that last 1/2 inch, let's just fold it the other direction. Trim the corners, and glue it inside the box. So when the top is down, we don't have a line in the back. Glue down the last column, and we can see that our room is starting to take shape. Let's add a bed. Take leftover poster board. I'm going to cut it to 7 inches. I fold the poster board to make another box. I have a tab, and then we have a 2.5 inch rectangle, a 10 inch rectangle, 2.5 again, then 10 inches. glue the ends together to make the box, which is a little floppy for a bed. So I cut another piece of poster board. This one is 10 inches by 13. I have a 1/2 inch on the sides. Let's fold that over. Make another fold at 2.5 inches on both sides, leaving us with about 7 in the center. So we should be able to just place it on top, going the other direction, giving our box more strength, well, when we glue it down. I cut the corners at an angle, then I use a glue stick to glue it on top. Now we can take that 1/2 inch piece and tuck it inside to make a box that's a little more stable and can handle the weight of a doll. But when the sides are not tucked in, it can fold down for easy storage. I cut 2 rectangles of poster board, cover them with a wood grain paper in the areas we think will be visible. I glue one to the bottom of the bed, paying attention to how it folds down. Then I glue the other side of the bed to the back wall. Glue the last piece of covered poster board right above it. So our room has a bed with a headboard. I have a little poster board left over. I cut it into thin strips. I'm going to glue these onto the wall. I don't have enough to double them, so let's just glue them on and see how it looks. I glued one about every inch going down the wall, and it's not too bad. If I turn down my studio lights and just have a little light coming through the window, you can totally see it. Let's take more of that white wood grain and glue it around the bottom of the orange walls for baseboards. I added another piece of poster board to the back of this wall for strength, and the construction for our pop-up room is pretty much done. We have a window that can open with a seat underneath it and a bed that can hold the weight of a doll, all made out of paper. Well, you know, poster board. And we can just pull the sides out of the bed, then fold it up, lift the top of the seat, lay the walls flat, and close the room when we are ready to put it away. And we can set it up on a piece of poster board to make our scene. I use the stitch fabric to make bedding. I fold over the top and lay it on the box. Let's add a few pillows. Let's throw in a pink throw pillow. Let's bring in our yellow surfboard that we made in our last Stitch video. Lilo's room had lots of photographs on the walls. Since this is a fan room, I was thinking about using a few posters. I got this pack of posters at Five Below. It's a book with 12 posters. That might be a little large for our space. But on the back of the cover, we have a few minis. Some overlap, but there are a couple that are single. Let's cut them out, even the ones that are stuck together, and I use a little putty to attach them to the wall. There are 12 posters, so there are a lot to choose from. And I'm thinking maybe we can use a collector's guide, like from Disney Doorables. This is a Stitch mini peek with the code D019, who is, please be Scrump. Nope, not Scrump. It's Stitch on an orange surfboard, and he's flocked. But on the front of the collector's guide, we have a few pictures that I can cut a rectangle around, glue onto a scrap of poster board, cut it out again, leaving a small border, to make a few pictures that we can mix in with the posters. Place the painting from an earlier video outside the window. Let's add our record player, also from a previous video. We can use it to hold down the seat. We can bring in a few of our printable records for a little room clutter. How about the Scrump that we bought at Five Below? I think that could be cute on the bed. And let's add Stitch reading a book over by the window to give us a cute little space for the doll who loves Stitch. Then we can take our fangirl who likes to do a little Disney bounding and give her a Nani-inspired look. I paired an orange Barbie tank top with faux denim shorts. As a possible option, if we want sleeves, we can try this shirt to get that Nani vibe. Thank you for joining us while we made a pop-up doll room for the doll who loves Stitch. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell and follow us on Instagram and YouTube at MyFroggyStuff and Bella of MyFroggyStuff on Instagram, and we will see you next time. Bye!